It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back as a beautiful day dawns, and I'm going to say a beautiful new future. Farming sustainably no longer is just a buzzword, a novelty. It's essential to look after these valuable natural resources for future generations to come. And amidst the backdrop of probably the worst drought the country has experienced in decades, our farmers are facing a tough time, which means farming for the future, a Woolworths initiative, has become even more important, actually vital. Kobus Pienaar, an ex-farmer who is now leading that charge, joins us with some unbelievable insights and an awesome little experiment just to drive home how important best practices are in the world of farming. But Kobus, first of all, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for your efforts during a pretty tough time, I would imagine. How bad is it for our farmers at the moment? Set the scene for us.
It's really tough out there. As we all know, we've in the worst drought we've ever been.
Yeah.
And although we had good rains up north, you can see the levels of our dams is not where it should be in any case. We are one of the 40th driest countries in the world.
Wow.
So we get about half of the annual rainfall of the average of the whole planet. So, and our population is expanding, more needs of water, producing food for ourselves. It's difficult to import because of exchange rate. So our water is definitely under stress, and our farmers is feeling it at the moment. Production is down, quality is not where it should be. But amongst all of this, there is hope. If one can just apply your mind to it and see what you do and how you use water, we can solve a lot of problems.
And this little experiment is going to blow your mind to show you just how instituting the right kind of changes, but it does take time, and it of course takes innovations, as you've said, and you've got some of the leading minds in the world of farming working towards solutions. So how do we combat it? What are some of the big solutions that you and your team in the Farming for Future initiative have come across?
Oh, well, everything starts at the soil. If you don't look after your soil, you waste a lot. You waste fertilizer, you waste production, you waste energy.
You waste water.
Yeah, and you waste water, yeah, obviously. So what we're looking at is in Farming for the Future is obviously a holistic approach, because you can't just look at every aspect of farming in isolation. You need to look at everything
it's a
together.
System.
Yes, a system, because the one aspect is influencing the next. If you only look at irrigation and don't look after your soil, you won't get to where you should be. And that is what we do, and we work with the farmers, because our farmers is they get quite some good plans in tough times. So it's important that you work with them. Yes.
That's the way that this country approaches all of our big challenges, and as insurmountable as it seems, we are seeing more and more new solutions coming through. And I love the fact that you've brought a little experiment here to highlight just how bad the wrong soil composition can be. So take me through our experiment here. What are you showing us?
So, in Farming for the Future, we do pull samples on the farm to analyze it in our lab. Farming for the Future is based on science. Philosophy also plays a role, but you need to prove it by science. And what we've done here is we've got a soil that's been developed over 10 years of one of our farmers. We built up carbon.
So this is a beautiful soil.
This is not where it should be, but it is much better when it was. On the control part, where we didn't do any treatments, this is how the soil was about 10 years ago.
Okay.
So the carbon here is 2.4% and there 0.16%. So you build carbon.
Okay.
So not that you only take carbon out of the air, you also build the soil.
Take it from the soil. Wow.
So what that means is the water penetration is quite quick. As you can see, it's already done. It's going through. And in the soil that we didn't treat in a sustainable way, the water is still battling to go through. So when you get a downpour, what happens to the water?
So this is effectively runoff,
Runoff. Yeah.
This is unbelievable. So, I mean, these are just tiny little beakers here that we've let run for a few minutes. You can imagine what this would translate to across an entire farm or a number of farms in a collective. How does this translate to us, the consumer? How do we benefit from these best practices?
Well, one thing is look at the Farming for the Future logo on Woolies shelves. If you support that product, you support these practices. So indirectly, you are saving water, which is a very scarce commodity at this stage. So, and you at home as well. What you do with your water, measure what you do at home. I was surprised when I measured my own use at home.
Yeah.
I saved a lot just by measuring what I'm doing. And if everybody can just be aware of the water issue.
We've just seen what the small increments can do when the individuals stand up and put their hands up. So thank you so much to you and the farmers that are now collectively tackling farming for the future, for not just us, but for our kids, for my kid that's on the way soon, for generations to come. We really are farming for the future, but there is something that each one of us can do, not only through the products that we buy, but what we do at home to help aid guys doing the hard yards out in the fields. Kobus, thank you so much for opening up this wonderful world to us, and well done to all of the farmers working behind farming for the future. It's incredible.